Kia ora, Helen Brahms here, coming to you live from Surprise in Arizona. Hope you're all having a super fantastic sparkling day. Welcome to Before the Dirt Nap podcast number 1963, Reflections and Discoveries, a Week in Review. So I thought, and I apologize first for being on late. I don't know what happened. We just got watching something. I got drinking my protein shake, and the next thing I knew, it was after 6 p.m. Pacific, and I was like, oh yeah, we better get moving. But the other thing I thought of is that Sunday would be a good day to do a week in review what we've learned this week, go over what's happened this week, just to keep things fresh. And in case you missed any of the episodes, you can go back and have a look and see what we were talking about and everything else. So let's start off with, Monday was my birthday. So yeah, that's a good place to start. Monday was my birthday, and it didn't turn out how I expected it to be. Around 6:20 that evening, Zeffie had a seizure, foaming at the mouth. She was over here on the recliner. She is now down on the floor over here asleep. And so she had a seizure that lasted, I say 5 to 10 minutes, but I think it was more closer to 5 minutes. By the time that I heard her, realized what was going on, or found her and everything else, I was only in the room here with her for about 4 minutes, and she may have been going like a minute or two before that. So I got hold of an emergency vet. We ended up driving 35, and we left here around 10 to 7 Mountain Time, like 10 minutes before we were supposed to go on the podcast. Sorry, guys. Family emergency. We got to the hospital, and they had paperwork. They had some paperwork there from when I had called and spoken to them. They written out a little slip of paper. And so then I had to do all the paperwork things. And then once the paperwork was done, then they brought Zeffie in first. So we went out and got Zeffie first. Then I came back and filled out all the paperwork. And while she was being seen, because it was 7:20 when I was sitting down doing all the paperwork and everything else, I was called back a few minutes later, after I submitted all the paperwork and everything else, to talk with the vet, who by that stage had examined Zeffie, just done a initial examination of her, physical examination. All of her vitals were good. Her heart rate was good. Her breathing was good. Everything seemed to be working fine. I said, how is she? They said, she's sitting up in the kennel, just not sure where she is. I said, I am not surprised. I said, she just laid in the back seat. And I said, I had to carry her out to the car, put her in the back seat, hook her harness up. I said, I had to get her in her harness while she was laying down, which was a fun experience, but I got it done. Then I had to pick her up and carry her out to the car and put her into the car. And then she just stayed there until I came out to get her. Thankfully, it was not the middle of the summer. It was wintertime, so the temperatures were nice and cold outside. So she wasn't getting cold, and she wasn't overheating because of the heat outside. It was actually quite chilly. I suddenly thought afterwards, I thought maybe I should have put my jacket on, but then I would have to lug my jacket around inside because it was warm inside. And at one point I had to go outside to talk to my oldest son, who called me for my birthday, and then found out what happened with Zeffie. And I was outside. I was like, man, I could do with my jacket. Didn't really go sit in the car, but no, we're going to wait here. And then after I'd spoken with the vet, gave them permission to do blood work. They wanted to do a full blood work up on her to see how she was doing, see if they could figure out what was going on, why she had the seizure. They got the background from me with the hip sway thing and tripping over her feet and basically acting like a drunk dog or a drunken sailor. And so that was a really good conversation with the doctors. We went through with the vets. We went through some of the history with her and some of the things I'd noticed in the last couple of weeks. And so they said, okay, we're going to go check to see what's going on with her. They said it's going to take an hour or two. So they said, so go home, go home, relax, and then come back. I said, I'm a 35-minute drive from here. There is no way I'm going home because I won't be home for very long. I'll be anxious, and then I've got to turn around and drive back again. And I'm not the greatest one at driving at night. So I'm not a very good nighttime driver because my night vision is not the greatest. And I said, so I'll just hang around here. They said, that's fine. You can do that. That's fine. So I actually went and found a place to do my podcast from, which is the one that I did, which is why I was sitting in the car, which is why those on YouTube, it is not in the live section, but it is in the podcast section. I could only do it on Facebook Live at the time. And so we spoke about what had happened with all of that and everything else. Then I went in and went back and sat down and spoke with my son at some point during that time. Then they came and got me again to go back and talk about what they discovered with the blood work and everything else. And Zeffie's blood work was really good. They said really good. They said her blood sugars were a little low, but not to be concerned about that. They did find a raging UTI. So she had a urinary infection. They said And when she's out exercising, it's causing her blood pressure to drop, which is why she walks around like she's drunk. And I said, well, that's a good explanation for that one. But they had no reason why the seizure took place. None whatsoever. They could see nothing in the thing. And because it was Zeffie's first seizure, they didn't want to do anything. They did not want to put her on anti-seizure medication. They did have an IV in her so that should she have a seizure while they're at the vet clinic, they could immediately administer the anti-seizure medication via IV. And they asked me that as soon as they picked up, can we put that in? I says, yes, please. And explain why they were going to do it. I says, yep. So got all that taken care of. They then went and worked on the discharge thing. She came home with antibiotics. Zeffie and meds is not an easy thing to deal with. Sometimes she'll take them in the pill pockets and sometimes she won't. Depends on the size of the medication and how thin it is in some areas where she can smell the medication through the pill pockets. But I do have a recipe to make gelatin pill pockets with pumpkin in them. So I'm going to try those and see if they work any better. And I've got like a silicone ice cube tray, which makes little ice cubes about yay big. And so I'm going to put it into that. Then I can push the medication right into the middle. But she's almost done with her antibiotics. They finish tomorrow. And then she has a follow-up appointment with the doctor on Wednesday. Now, one thing they did tell me last Monday was with her, if she has another seizure of 3 minutes or longer, to bring her straight in, and also to get an appointment for her with the neurology vet to have MRIs done. I was like, oh my gosh, that's megabucks. And I was like, I was praying and praying and praying. We didn't have that. Tuesday, we got through, no problems. We trying to keep her quiet. The other thing I got told too is the with females, the older they get, the longer they hold. And so I said to the vet, I said, well, that's going to come in handy next year when she has to fly to New Zealand. I said, because I don't know when she gets her last pee break before she's loaded on the plane, but the flight's going to be about 12 and a half to 13 hours from when she leaves the gate to when she arrives at the next gate. And then I don't know how long she's on the plane, at what point after the plane lands that she finally gets to go again. So she could be having to hold it for about 15, 16, maybe 17 hours. And I said, they're going to have stuff in the crate for her to pee on and all that. I said, but knowing my dog, she is going to hold it because she does not like to pee in her own backyard. It's just as simple as that. I said, she will occasionally pee on the front yard. I said, but for her to go on her own yard, unless it's the middle of the night, she needs to be 3 houses away. Like when we were in the RV, she had to be 3 sites away before she would first pee, poop, whatever, unless it was the middle of the night. And then she would pick a spot and do it. So got her home. We got home like around 10:30 that night, I think it was 10:30, 11 o'clock, somewhere around there. I've been keeping my parents in New Zealand updated on everything. Been keeping the family advised of stuff that was going on. We had it was not how I expected to spend my birthday evening. I was planning on going and getting some fish and chips from Culver's along with my birthday custard, because they had sent me a coupon where I get a free scoop with a free topping, with one topping on it. And so I didn't get to get my chocolate custard with my free topping on top, nor did I get to get my fish and chips that evening. In fact, I didn't even have dinner that evening. By the time I got home, yes, I was a little hungry, and I just made a protein shake, and that was all I had. But hey, protein shake, that's good. We had a quiet night. Tuesday was good. Tuesday we talked about Zeffie. We gave an update on Zeffie and what was going on with her. She had a good day that day. She did get a little drunk, but no seizures. That was good. Wednesday morning came, and after we had been for our walk, we came back. She was laying on the love seat she was starting to get the sway thing as we got home. And I'm trying to keep her walks really short right now, so that she's just going out to do her business and then we come straight home again. But with an energetic dog who, as she is healing and her body is healing, her energy is starting to come back. So trying to keep an energetic dog quiet, yeah, that's a bit of a challenge. So we got back home on Wednesday morning, and she was laying on the love seat. I was sitting at the table having breakfast, and all of a sudden, it was like seconds, I heard that breathing, that wet, heavy, panting breathing thing that she was doing on. And I looked up, and she had just gone into a seizure. So I went straight over to her, started talking to her, started coming, and she was running. She was laying on her side, and her legs were running. This was her seizure. She's running in her seizure, like flat out running. Back legs are going, front legs are going. So I'm trying to get over these flailing legs that are running on her side. I'd seen her do the runs in her when she's just been asleep, and it's just been this. You've all seen dogs run in their sleep, right? That's basically what she was doing at a fast pace. And so I managed to talk to her and calm her down and stroke her. And I was like, and I immediately, as I'm going across to the couch, I put the timer on my phone. Hers, and from that time on the phone, she was at 90 seconds from the moment I hit the timer to when I stopped the timer again after she came out of the seizure. It was then 5 minutes later, she's up and walking around like nothing had happened. And that was the end of that. So she had about a 90-second seizure that day, maybe a little longer, but nowhere near 3 minutes. So we were good. It was like, phew, we don't have to go to the doctor, but we do need to log this. So I've got a running timetable going with everything on it for when we go back to see the vet on Wednesday. And then Wednesday, we talked about common questions we get asked about in genealogy. Why is my mouse not, I don't know what's going on with my mouse lately. But like you click on something and I don't know what's going on. Hang on. My notes are quit notes, and we'll go back in and then everything will work fine. It's just weird. My computer's doing weird things lately. I don't know why. Okay, back down here. All right, so Wednesday we talked about commonly asked questions. And where did I put my question? Oh God, where did I put my question? Hang on one moment, please. Let me go back over here. I've got notes over here that I can't copy and put into the description, but then I have another list of notes that has all of what we talked about. Where's my notes for the show on there? Questions. Hang on. Oh, that was those other ones. Questions. Here we go. Is that the one? I have totally lost where are my questions gone? Okay. Questions. Where did my questions go? I have totally lost track of my notes. I should have queued those up beforehand. That should be. Okay, so wow. I have to, here we go. Hang on, that's occupations. We talked about occupations last night. Is that last night? Yes, occupations. We talked about that last night, didn't we? Okay, so that was last night. Yeah, that was last night. Friday, we talked about the taxes. Yep. Thursday was appreciation and gratitude, giving thanks for our ancestors. And then we had why am my book? Oh, hang on. That was that other one. Oh, here we are. I found them. I'm sorry. I'm totally disorganized today. I'll update you on today in a moment. So we started talking about common genealogy questions like how do you start researching your genealogy? Who is my ancestor related to as far as famous people go, distant relatives, royalty, all of that sort of stuff. When and where did an event happen? What can you tell me about my ancestors' life? Can I find my ancestors for free? How do I verify family stories? And what is the best way to build a family tree? So that was episode 1959. And that was commonly asked questions on genealogy research. And my birthday one was 1957. My Zephy update was 1958. So we talked about some of the questions that some of the common questions we get as a genealogist, questions that we commonly get. Then on Thursday, 1960, what a good year that was. My husband was born in that year. Anyway, so, excuse me. Oh, sorry, it just repeats from my protein shake I was drinking. So, So on Thursday morning, we started off the same way as we did the day before. We went out for our walk, came back. Zeffie had a minute-long mini seizure, or micro seizure, I'm calling them. And 6 minutes later, she was up and walking around like nothing had happened. Although, was that the day that we starved it off? That might have been the day we starved it off. Hang on. I got to go check something here. So the 11th, the 12th. So the 11th was Wednesday, and she had the running seizure. Then she had it again on the 12th. That was that was Thursday. But this one, she refused to lay down. She refused to lay down that morning, and so she sat there on the recliner. And I was due to go into a Zoom at 9 o'clock my time. It was 9 o'clock my time, or 10 o'clock. I was due to go into onto a Zoom call with a friend of mine that I hadn't spoken to for a while. So it's going to be a nice catch-up call with her. And just a few minutes before, she was... No, sorry, that was Thursday. So Wednesday and Thursday, she had the running seizures. One lasted for 90 seconds, which was Wednesday. Thursday lasted for a minute, and 6 minutes later, almost 7 minutes later, she was up walking around, and she went and drank about 32 ounces of water before. She had drunk 32 ounces of water before 9:30 in the morning. She was out walking around out the backyard, and I could hear her feet dragging because her blood pressure had dropped. So she was doing her drunken thing again. And so I ended up having to carry her inside because she just stood in place for like 5 minutes. And so I walked her inside, stood her on her mat in there, and then she went over and started drinking again. And then she went and laid down and slept. Then on Friday... Friday was what's today? Sunday. My days are getting mixed up. So Friday was when I was meant to be when I had a call with my friend at 9 o'clock in the morning, my time. And at 8:45, we had 2 near misses with Zeffie. She was sitting here on her chair, and all of a sudden, and she's sitting there, she refused to like she was not going to lay down, no matter, no how, no way. Absolutely not. Nope. Wasn't even going to think about laying down. She stayed sitting up. And then all of a sudden, she poked her tongue out and started the panting thing, which is the beginning of her seizure. So I went straight over. I was sitting here, went straight over to her and got her to calm down within seconds. And she puts her tongue away. She looks around. She looks at me. She reaches over. She sniffs me, gives me a kiss on the nose. And then she just leans back against the seat, and she's still sitting. And then about 3 minutes later, she started it again. The tongue came out. She started panting, got her out of it within seconds. I mean, these ones didn't even last a minute. They were just seconds. And then after that, she came out of it and sort of was a little hazy there. And she kind of just like slid down into this laying position with her head on top of the armrest there so she could watch me. Did my Zoom call. So my friend who I was talking with, she was busy watching Zeffie as well. I'm watching Zeffie in my window on Zoom because I can see her back there. And so we're both keeping an eye on Zeffie, and I'll turn around to actually look at her to make sure she was okay, making eye contact with her and all of that. And then yesterday we had no issues at all. Today we have had no issues with. We did have the drunken thing this morning, and she took ages to walk that off. She took ages to walk. Oh, but hang on, Friday night. So Friday, sorry. I promise to be a little better next time. So on Friday night, before we get to yesterday, Friday night, we talked about the different types of taxes, the unusual taxes that our ancestors may have had to pay. Everything from window tax to beard tax to hat tax, soap tax, clock tax, salt tax, bachelor tax, candle tax, chimney tax. And I know there's a few others that were in there as well. And there was some very interesting ones on taxing, which turned out very well because come Saturday morning, our mastermind group, we actually had a tax strategist in who was giving us some tips on saving money on taxes and things, and we could ask him any questions. So I mentioned I was moving down to New Zealand next year. I have a business here in the States. What do I do regarding that with the IRS and blah, 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 blah. And he gave me a tax strategy that I had no clue about, which will end up saving me thousands of dollars in taxes in both the US and New Zealand. I was like, I really like this one. So that tax strategy is a really good one. So that was a bit on our on Saturday, and then we had and then Saturday morning we had no incidences with. We had a little bit of wobble when we got back, but it didn't last very long, and she didn't have a seizure at all on Saturday. And then Saturday night, we talked about the uncommon historical occupations, the specialized trades, community and service roles, odd and obscure occupation. Like I still like that one, snobscat, which is a cobbler or shoemaker, particularly a regional term in the 18th and 19th century in England. A snobscat. Where did I get these things from? Oh, then you had the Saga maker's bottom knocker, which was the pottery industry worker who made the molds for firing pottery. Like, how do they come up with these things? But they did. And so we talked about some of those ones last night. And then today we went for our walk today, and we had a good walk today. We actually did a little longer than we've done over the past few weeks. And she started the swaying thing just before we got back to the house. Got her inside. She's swaying all over the house. She let her out back. She goes, Zeffie goes out back and staggers around the backyard. And then she just stands there in place for like 5 to 10 minutes. She was not going to move. And she kind of like looks at me. So I go and stand next to her. And then as the moment I stood next to her, she just leans her weight onto my leg and just stayed there and stayed there and stayed there. And we were standing like that for another 5 minutes. And then she finally made it inside and again, walked around, slipping and sliding around, had a couple of drinks of water. And then finally, she came in here and she kind of like looked at the chair. So I just picked her up and put her in the chair and she sat there for a few minutes. No signs of any seizures whatsoever, but definitely a lot more energy today than she had yesterday. Hey, sweetie girl. She's wanting her advent calendar treat. Yes. I'll give it to you as soon as we finish here, okay? I want my advent calendar treat too. I get chocolate truffles. She gets chicken dog treats, organic chicken dog treats too, they turn out to be. And she loves them. She's already had her meds for the night. But yeah, so we had no seizures today. And then today was spent getting some stuff up online to get sold. We've now started selling stuff. So I actually parked the car in the driveway so I could set up, like, I've got a pack and play that my oldest grandson used for a little bit. It's basically brand new. That's hardly ever been used. So I've got that, put that up online, put Gus's humongous crate up online, which is 48 inches long, 32 inches high and 30 inches wide. It's a extra large crate. And it's got 3 doors on it, one on either end and one in the middle on the side, which is very hard to find these days because I was looking to see what could I put up for a price for comparison, looking for comparison prices. What are they new? What are people selling them for? And the only ones I could find that were 3-door had a door on the front, a door on the side, and a door on top with a divider cage so you could reach down into the crate. And I'm like, no, I need one on either end with one in the middle. And so I found my original invoice for that from eons ago. And I was like, man, we really did pay some bucks for that one. So it is very hard to find a 3-door crate. And I've been through like a lot of online places for secondhand stuff. Can't find it anywhere. So put a price on it. We'll see how that goes. But we got that up. So we've got the pack and play up there. We got the dog crate up there. We got the stroller up there. Got my speakers up there. I've got Definitive Infinity speakers. We have a 5-in-1 system. So we've got 2 towers for the front, 2 gems for the back, a center speaker, and the woofer, all as a whole set to go. That was our big splurge that we had when we put in the movie theater back east and put that in. So got that up. What else did we get up there? I think that's basically what we got up today. But I've still got other stuff to go, and I'm sort of like, okay, I'm done with assembling things, taking photos of them kind of in a semi-dark. I couldn't open the garage door because I had the door open into the house so Zeffie could come in and out because she doesn't like it when there's a door between us. And I was out there for a while, assembling, making sure everything was up, making sure everything worked. And I had problems getting the pack and play up because I just went and put it up how I thought I remembered I did it. And I couldn't get this one in to snap in place. And I'm like, it's got to snap in place. It can't be broken. It's all protected in the thing and blah, I'm all, let me read the manual. So I actually picked up the manual and read it and went, oh, I put the sides up before I put the ends up. You're supposed to put the ends up before you put the sides up. So then I dismantled the undoey thingy, the little button thingies that made it collapse in on itself. And so I was all collapsed in on myself, and then snapped the ends into position, snapped the sides into position. Everything held and looked fantastic. Yes, we were done. And then it has the bassinet piece at the top, and then it's got the crib piece down below. So it's got the netting for the bassinet piece, and then so the mattress that it has goes inside that. And then it's even got they call it a napper and changer. And it's a seat thing that one side is set up so for changing diapers on, because it's got the material there to help protect the seat or whatnot. And then if you flip it over, it becomes a napper for the baby, like a bassinet for a baby to sleep in. And just a little seat thing that they can lay in and go to sleep in. It's designed for infants, not for, yeah. I think it has a weight limit on it. I can't remember. So got all that set up, got photographs taken of that. And yeah, that was fun getting that thing. I was getting so frustrated with it. And then I thought, let me read the manual. Oh, ends first, then the sides. So I have to remember ends first and then the sides. But the manual will go with the crib. They'll see it all set up. And then I've got to remember how to take the napper and change the thing, because those slots that it slides down into. So I have to remember how to get them out of there so I can fold it all up again. All these things you got to think of, I tell you. It's interesting. It's fun. But anyway, so that's basically, and then I got them up on Marketplace. I got them up on Nextdoor, thinking about where else I'm going to put them. But for now, those are the two places I have them. And then I got a lamp base where I did have two lamps, but somebody wrapped one in a moving blanket, which worked perfectly fine. And then somebody went and wrapped the other one in a plastic tarpaulin, tarp that goes on the ground, like a ground sheet thing. And it was like that recycled plastic stuff, and the thing was completely shattered. So I did have two. I only have one now, so we're selling the one. And I've got other pieces that I'm finding ready to go on sale as well. So I've got two clocks to go. They're oblong shaped ones, and they've got a clock at the top and a shadow box at the bottom. And then one, it's got golfing history in it, and the other one, it's got like a game room thing, like billiard, a pool cue and some pool balls and some cards, some darts and a dartboard. And yeah, so they'll be going up soon as well. So I've got some stuff set aside to sell. It's just that I haven't done anything with listing it. So now we're listing, and we're starting to get rid of stuff, because as I get rid of stuff, I create more space so I can do more sorting. Yay! But the sorting is going well. I looked at my pile at the table. I've got the big oak table in here the other day, and I was looking at that and thinking, oh, I really need to clear that off, and the stuff underneath it. And I looked at it and I thought, now, what if this is going? Most of the stuff on top is going. I'm keeping, so I need to put those into a box, and I keep and just set the stuff into there and find some way to put those boxes. So I know that they're keep boxes. While I sort through all the other stuff, because I've stopped sorting the other stuff because I've got nowhere to sort to, because I've got all the stuff laying around that this is keep, this is donate, this is sell, this is trash. Well, the trash stuff pretty much goes out straight away anyway. But I've got boxes piled up around the paper shredder. So there's a few boxes. And I know a couple of those boxes I can't just stand there and just shred the stuff. I actually have to go through the stuff to work out what I have to shred, and there is stuff in there that I'm keeping as well. So I was supposed to put Sparkles up for sale yesterday, but I need to find the title first, because I need some information off that. I already have a lot of photographs taken from when I first bought Sparkles. And so some of those just need to be updated. It's too dark in the RV to take photos right now, because I have no lighting in there, and it's parked underneath a shelter area at the storage facility. So yeah, but with the photos that I have, I can put it up there. I just need to find my title information. So I know where that is. If somebody says, yep, I want to buy it, but it's going to be sold as is, where is. So yeah. Anyway, and I still have some stuff to get out of there. So we'll probably go over there maybe one morning this week if I have time. Otherwise, we're doing that next weekend, going over and getting the other stuff out of there. But it's definitely going up this week. And I think I know where the title stuff is. I just have to get to it. It's in a metal filing box, or it's in my safe box. It's in one of two safe boxes. I have to figure out which one. But anyway, so that's our update for the week. That's where we are. We're starting to sell stuff. Zeffie's seems to be recovering well. She's got 1 day left on her antibiotics. She's got a follow-up visit with the vet on Wednesday, with her regular vet on Wednesday. We've got client meetings this week. And that's kind of where we're at right now. So I hope you guys are having a super fantastic sparkling weekend. And we will catch you guys back here tomorrow evening. Hang on, I have to check. I think tomorrow evening I'm going to be early. Yes, tomorrow evening I'm going to be early. I will be on at 5:30 tomorrow night because I have a thing that starts at 6 o'clock my time. So with that, I am out of here. I'll be on at 5:30 tomorrow evening. And until then, have a super fantastic sparkling evening. And we'll catch you guys back here tomorrow evening at 5:30.